So I'm very glad that you are with me today, because we know each other already for over 12 years. Yeah. So 12 years from now, we together did a project at Deutsche Telekom. You've been a younger researcher than what did change in the industry? What do you think in the telecommunication industry back then?
Well, I changed. I got older. But as you can see on the topics we worked there 12 years ago compared to today, basically we still have the same questions. How can we make our customers more loyal, and what are the key drivers to do that? This was the research we did 12 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So we had a basic understanding on what level is our loyalty, what are the loyal customer groups, what are the not so loyal customer groups, but we wanted to understand what are the big drivers to make more loyal. And these basically are the same questions today. How can we keep our customer base stable? How can we keep them loyal? How can we get them to pay more for more? And how can we acquire new customers with a good message that loyalty is something you can have with us for a long way? These are the very same questions for 12 years. I think, of course, a lot has changed in terms of the technical background, and also the product has changed a lot. But the key questions behind, for me as a CX guy or customer insights guy, whatever you want to call it, I guess are still the very same.
Interesting, huh? So you are now gradually transitioned from an inside role to a more strategic role. So you know both worlds. Tell me, what can the one part learn from the other? What can inside people learn from this strategy guys and vis-a-vis? What do you think?
Great question. If I could travel back in time and call myself, or go with Professor, I don't know, you know the reference. If I could travel back in time to my younger self, I would say, when you talk about insights, it's not so much about the tools, the formats, and the crazy techniques you can do to create insights. It's more about translation of insights and to bring them into the language of the company. Very often, and still today, when you talk to insight people, or when you talk to people who are working in research, and just this week I was on a conference where we had the very same questions. It's all about, how can I make people in the company listen to me? How can I make people in the company listen to my insights? How can I make people listen to research? And these are exactly the questions we had 12 years ago, or I had 12, 15 years ago. And I think the problem very often is we are too focused on our tools, and we are too much in love sometimes with our topics. On the good end, you can say we are very motivated to work in our field, but on the bad side, we don't take stakeholder management as serious as we should be. So this would be, I think, my key message. Don't only talk about stakeholder management, do it in your very own environment. Because of course, the quality of insights is important, but the insights are never the product. They're always a mean to an end. And at the end, it's all about the company and the value the company is getting out of these insights.
It really reminds me to the shoemaker has the worst shoes, because,
yes.
To make your insights being accepted in the company, you need to understand your internal customers, right?
Yeah.
And if you understand your internal customer, you know what they are interested in, and then you can cater for them, and then they will buy what you have to offer. I think that's a key thing. It's not easy, but I think that's what I see is often missing, to understand that you're not there to push things into the organization. You need to start at your internal customer and think, this is my customers, what do they want? And how can I help them, right?
A small anecdote. When I was working in market research in a company, we were so focused on selling research and selling new projects. We didn't even have a good customer feedback in place. So basically, there was no customer feedback on our end. So we weren't using the product we were selling.
Yeah.
Basically, that's just a funny thing. Yeah.
Let's come to the topic of today. Prepare your insights. You are leaving PowerPoint land. So this is an interesting, catchy line. What is exactly your point here?
I came to the title when I reminded myself of a guy I worked with sometimes, and he had a shirt in some of the workshops we were working together, and the shirt was literally saying, "Everything works in PowerPoint land." And I love this shirt so much, and I love this quote so much that I'm using it regularly, because in customer experience or in CX, we always wanna talk about customer journeys, and we are not getting tired to tell the colleagues we have to work and think and discuss in customer journeys and not in single interactions. But when we talk about customer journeys, very often we end up in assumptions. So whenever we start a customer journey discussion, or we want to draw a customer journey, sooner or later you realize what we talk about are assumptions, and they all sound very reasonable on a slide, but they're not based on research. They're just made up right now, and we are very freely associating what happens next, what happens next, what happens next. But how do we know? And the first thing then comes to, me as a customer, when I last time did blah, 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 or my son did this, or I experienced it with a friend of mine. But this is not insights, these are anecdotes. And I think it can be a good thing to start in a customer journey mapping, for example, with an anecdote or with an assumption, but you must never forget to validate your assumption via research.
Yeah.
And I think it's very dangerous if you make this journey and it sounds very logical, like a story, and you say, okay, case closed, we have the customer journey, we have the 3 pain points. And by the way, these pain points are the pain points we are working on anyway, so we can proceed. That's a bit what I call the paradox of research. Normally, you have to produce results everyone agrees with because they're reasonable. And then they say, yeah, we knew it anyway, so we can do what we had to do. But as soon as research brings results which people don't know or don't immediately understand, they say, it can't be true. Can't be true. Yeah. Why? Because we know it's different. Why do you know it's different? It's always been different. And this, I think, is a very, very dangerous thing for all research people in all kinds of professions. You have to fight this. Don't deliver assumption, or don't validate assumptions. Bring them into context that there might be something new in it. And I think that's why it's so important that we leave PowerPoint land behind. And whenever we do something, we should immediately get into contact with customers. So for me, very often a project, when I go on in discussing a journey, or we start discussing a customer journey, the first thing I want to do is I want to talk to customers, or I want to feel or see the experience they have with this journey specifically.
So true.
And you don't have to take insights out of this already, in the very first step, but you have to get a good feeling. You have to start getting into something which we normally call empathy. Yeah? And even if you don't write anything down from this, you will 100% have a better understanding of the journey after than you had before. And it's a small thing nowadays. You can set up an interview with the customer in every journey in less than 5 days. We have infrastructure now that we can do this. Every journey we wanna start or we wanna discuss, we can find customers and we can get in direct contact with them within 5 working days. That's my promise to the colleagues. Tell me the journey, I bring you the customers, and then we can talk to them, and we talk to them about their experience. Because never forget, you can map a customer journey only internally, always a product-centered customer journey. But what you want in the end is a customer-based customer journey. And there are always steps in the journey which you are never aware of, because they happen without interaction of you, without interaction from you, especially in our field. We as mobile phone industry, we don't sell very exciting products.
What I really found interesting the other day when you told me that everyone in your organization needs to have customer contact, right? Needs to listen to conversations and so forth.
Yeah,
that's ties into the point you mentioned, right?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, we try to change the habits. Yeah, so by a very strong nudge, now we bring the people to the hotline. So to make it very concrete, at Congstar we have a event called Service Live, which is every week in at least 1 hour. Each Congstar can listen in to customer calls. So he can just from his desktop, just one click, and then he's in live interviews or live hotline calls with customers. He can listen in. He sees on his screen the front end of the agent, and after each call, he can discuss with the agent, and he can ask questions, and he can, for example, understand the process. Why did you answer like this? Why did this happen? What was the reason behind, and so on, so on. And I don't expect that from every session we get action points. Oh, we have to change the process. Oh, we have to change. It's a good thing if it happens, but I don't think it's necessarily has to happen every week. But I want to nudge people that it gets more and more kind of a habit. I listen to customers. It's part of my job. It's what I do. Even if I work in finance or human resources or company strategy, it's what I do, and it goes through the whole organization. Our CEO Axel also was listening to calls lately, and all people from the leadership circle they're doing this on a regular basis.
That makes sense. It's probably much more convincing than the PowerPoint slide. Also, this quote also reminds me to another quote. When it's written in PowerPoint, it's called artificial intelligence. If it's written in Python, it's machine learning, like that, right? Yeah, and the point is so true that actually the main method of validating theories of people is to think, is it reasonable or not? Does it make sense or not? But actually, it's not very good method to validate something, because it's simply validates it based on the things we already know, right? So there is no, if you just use this reasoning, you cannot learn something new, right? So, and it's not even a very good method to validate things. So you need to rely on the research methods to learn something new, right?
Yeah, and you need more than one research method. What we try to tell the people always, there is not one single hammer for the nail of insights. You have to be aware of the method you're using, and you have to be aware of the bias you're bringing in with this research, because every research has a bias. And what I want, and I think it also helps if you start small. If you just start with listening in, everyone understands this cannot be the only source, but this is the first source. And from there, you get a new hypothesis, and you come to other source, because we have to do triangulation. We have to work from different angles. We have to work with qualitative research in the beginning, for example, to create hypotheses. What is going well? What is going not so well with the customer journey? And then we get pain points. Maybe we get too many pain points. Maybe we get some more and more, and others just basically one or twice while we're listening. But these are then not pain points we have to work on. These are hypotheses, and we have to check, okay, if this is a pain point, what should I see in the system? What should go wrong somewhere in a KPI I can really work with? And then I go to the next level of research. And when I find KPIs who are now validating or falsifying my pain point, then I can translate this into a business hypothesis. Knowing this pain point and knowing the KPI, it happens like this. I can tell this costs us real money in terms of too many people are calling, or too many people are not doing the contract as we want to, or not changing the contract. But you need this kind of triangulation. For example, when we talk to customers now in the customer journey of order or tariff change is the same thing. Very often we have young guys, the perfect target group, young male people in their 30s. They do everything in the app. They check the new tariff. They say, oh, that's a great tariff. Yeah, I changed the tariff. And they go in the app until the point of order now. And then they lay down the app and the phone and they call us. Hey, I want to change my tariff. And I don't come get my head around this, because why are they doing this? And now we try to find out, is this a quantitative important thing what we see, that people are, even if we do a good job bringing them into the app, they still call us, because this doesn't make sense a lot.
Did you find out yet? No,
not yet. I'm quite convinced, to be honest, because the pattern is strong, and the hotline volumes are large, but to make the real connection of two different touchpoint interactions, bring them together in an interlinked way is I think not easy, and at least not easy for us right now.